Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nicolette Hodge. I am an injured warrior here in the Midwest, standing with and representing Master Solomon, the Son of Man, the messenger of the Abrahamic covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, and the self-taught one. Welcome, brothers and sisters. Today we are speaking about this war that you didn't even know was coming. The War of Armageddon is what we are coming up on. And the spark to the War of Armageddon is what's taking place in the Middle East. America and Britain about to be kicked out and false Israel being completely destroyed. Now, before we get into today's topic, we're going to speak about the Holocaust. This is our complete experience being here, brothers and sisters. It's not slavery. Slavery is a capitalist move. Work as someone without paying them. Maximum profit for a minimum overhead. That means getting as much out of the person as possible while giving them as least. Okay? And that does not account for rape, sodomization, pedophilia, cannibalism, murder, beating, torturing us. That's not slavery. So what is it? It's the Holocaust. Okay? And what they did to us makes their Holocaust look like a mugging. Because they're running around here telling you that them manipulating each other into walking into incinerators and gas chambers is a big deal. They did that at the hands of each other. They're always in conflict with each other, brothers and sisters. And so they don't want to recognize what they did to us, and they definitely don't want to tell their children how evil their devil nature is. And so they whitewash it and call it a critical race theory. And they call it slavery. And that does not account for, and that is not the definition of any of these monstrosities that are being done to us, and have been being done for almost 500 years now. Okay, you see they just put 90 bullets in the young man, a young black man, and they have their people, devils, going on a killing spree around the country, shooting up malls, schools, doctor office, restaurants. Okay, and they really don't want to shoot them at all. Matter of fact, they bring them out in handcuffs and then come up with all these excuses as to why they're so effed up. Saying that, it's a mental illness or excuse me, brothers and sisters. Or we know that they're mentally ill, brothers and sisters. It's just the fact that they overlook who they are, their record, their rap sheet, while trying to diminish our true history. And they'll put 90 rounds in one of us, or anybody who's black for that matter. Okay, and then completely overlook one of their own. Just like the one at the Indiana mall shooting. Devil went crazy, shooting up people. He killed 3 people, and then a good Samaritan had his gun and shot the devil. They have devils in the crowd calling for a full investigation of what they call a so-called good Samaritan. So they don't want any type of consequence for their actions. And that's the whole reason why they are working overtime to diminish and hide what was done to us. And brothers and sisters, the consequences are already here on their behinds. Okay, and to prove that we see everything that's taking place around us. So we're gonna get right into it, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, I'm pulling up a presentation called Fall of America that we're going to be looking at and studying today. This presentation was done by Master Solomon 4 years ago in 2018. Let me scroll down so you can see the date. June 21st, 2018. He gives a description of what's going to happen with these European nations: America, Britain, false Israel, Russia, the EU, and America's black-faced children. These demons that we're looking at. They look like us, walk like us, talk like us, but they're not us. And so he goes into great detail what's going to happen before it happens with the fall of this these European structures, this division and collisions that we're looking at right now. And so this is just some evidence and proof that nobody's up here making up lies for what? This is a free gift. We're going home, brothers and sisters. So understand what's taking place so that you can be proactive and not reactive. Because our brothers and sisters who are going to be reacting are not going to make it. Okay, we're going to speak about division. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? But I have baptism to be baptized with, and how I am straitened till it be accomplished. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you nay, that means no, but rather division. From henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father. The mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother. The mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Now, I want to show you something, brothers and sisters, because they speak about this verse in the church quite a bit, and no one understands these scriptures except for the Son of Man himself. Scriptures tell you that the Bible will be sealed up into the end of times, and only the Son of Man can unseal only Daniel can unseal the scriptures. And so that means that anyone pulling out this Bible and trying to read and tell you what's going on is completely oblivious and delusional. Now, they're telling you in the church that division, mother against father, father against son, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, means that there's going to be a lot of conflict within the house. They're taking it for literal, that families will be at each other's throats. Mother won't be able to get along with the daughter, the father and son, and the family unit will be broken up. And then they go on to support that narrative by saying, and look how the divorce rate is high. We can't get our young people to listen to us. And so if the scriptures were that simple, there would be no need to come and break the seals. Okay, so it's not speaking about anything literal. And so these technical minds, they take everything for face value. That's devils. And the spatial mind, us original brothers and sisters, we speak in riddles or parables. We have words, we speak to each other that these devils don't even know what we're saying. And that's why they had to put the demons in place to report everything back to Master. However, I just want to make it clear before we move forward how they do these things in the church. They play these mind games, knowing damn well they have no clue what they're talking about. As a matter of fact, they have to go to a school to be licensed to teach you the Bible. So all the understanding they given to you has been given to them by these devils. And we know the ones in the church are their black-faced children, demons. Okay, and so they are blindly looking at these scriptures. They don't know what this means. Their mind cannot even conceive and understand the mathematics behind any of these scriptures or what's taking place. Okay, so understand that, brothers and sisters. All right, this is a repeat from 2 years ago, 2016. These verses address the climate between the nations. We see that father against son is in reality Britain against Europe. So these are two countries. Father against son is Britain against Europe. This sign already in place with the so-called Brexit. Further, there's an ever-increasing conflict between Russia and America. That's the mother against the daughter. Finally, there is a mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, which again requires the angel key to fully understand. The daughter-in-law are the Christian blacks. These are black-faced devils. There will be an increasing strife between black Christians and America, the mother-in-law. We see in these verses all the hot spots, all the divisions and animosities will increase until America's total defeat and destruction. Okay, brothers and sisters, here we have mother against daughter. The mother is America. The daughter is Russia. Father against son is Britain. The son is the EU. Mother-in-law is America. And the daughter-in-law are the black-faced devils. Okay, these are Master's seed. These is Master's children. These are the ones who wants to stay here in America, make it great. They want their reparations. They want their 6 states. The only complaint they have is that they're not in charge of running things. Okay, they're all for the Democratic Party. They want to vote and get their rights. And they want to inherit America. Okay, so that's what the daughter-in-law is. The Christian blacks, which are demons. Now, we need to understand that this angel key, we have cut out a portion of the angel key. We're just focusing on the European nation. The angel key addresses all 5 major nations. We have the European nation at the bottom, then the Oriental nation, then the Asian nation, and we have the original nation in the middle. And for this particular graphic, we're only focusing on the European nation because the War of Armageddon is the collapse of all European structures. So we're going to speak about how that's going to happen. Now, right now, we're looking at the conflict between mother and daughter, father and son, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Okay, America and Britain, which are also Gog and Magog, will be aligned against Europe and Russia in World War III. America will suffer unrest and open rebellion from her Christian Negroes. Okay, brothers and sisters, this was given 4 years ago. We're looking at this play out right now. Right now, we see that there's all kinds of conflict going on with these Europeans. America and Russia have never been on good terms. And Britain and EU, Britain left the EU in 2020. This video was published 2 years before that. They call it Brexit, where Britain made its exit from the EU. And so these conflicts cannot be ignored or missed, brothers and sisters. It's right in your face. And the whole thing about it is, remember I told you, the time period for the Holocaust was from 1619 to 2019. Although they're still putting us through it, their time period for it has expired. And the Abrahamic covenant shared with you that we would be strangers in land that is not ours for 400 years, undergoing severe affliction and torment, slavery, and the Holocaust, that we would be brought out with great substance, and that land that afflicted us would be judged. We would go back home between the great river of Euphrates and Egypt, which is Arabia. And then Exodus starts off with this plague. It tells you this plague hit Egypt after the 400-year time period. and that this plague would pass over God's people, us, the true Hebrews, those that have the same DNA as the Lamb himself, as the Son of Man, who is an original man, and would knock out the Egyptians, which are these European Caucasian devils and their black-faced children. And so 2020 came in with this plague. And so this is for you to understand. I'm explaining this so you can understand that their conflict with each other started the same year as their judgment. Their conflict with each other, put it this way, their conflict has been increasing since 2020. Okay? And so, like I said, they have been all this time throughout the whole Holocaust up until 2019, they have been using their energy to control us and keep us in bondage mentally and physically as well, with all their laws and programs that's against us, and keeping our brothers locked away in cages and keeping our sisters barren by putting these abortions on us and birth control, and have us eating as swine and taking our organs and putting this jab on us. And so they still they've been using all of their energy to keep us down. However, with this time period coming to an end, this plague coming in, and this increasing conflict between the European nations is showing you that these scriptures are right on point. Okay, so here we are on the next scene. I just explained how this event is already visible. The so-called Brexit pitted and is pitting Britain against Europe. And so this video was done in 2018. By the time 2020 came, they had already exited. They had already separated themselves from the EU. Okay, here on the next slide, tension between Russia and America are increasing daily. This was given 4 years ago. Obama-lights are stroking the tension with their cries of Russian interference in the election of Mr. Trump. Now, America and Russia have not had a good rapport these past couple of years, and it's going to make it so bad because when America and Britain get kicked out the Middle East, America's not getting any oil from Russia. Okay, and whatever little oil America has here, they won't be able to help NATO. All these countries involved, France, Germany, who are about to freeze to death this winter because they've been cut off by Russia. So all of these conflicts that we're looking at in the European nations have already been covered through the Angel and the Angel Key. Tension between America and her Christian Negroes are increasing daily. Will continue with riots and open conflict. The war will see it boil over when America, losing in the war, starts forcing Negroes into the war with the draft of women and men while shielding her own white children. So here we have again, mother against daughter, America against Russia, father, Britain against EU, son, mother-in-law, America against daughter-in-law, which are the black-faced devils, these Christian Negroes. And the whole thing about it is these demons were produced here in America. So we weren't produced here in America, brothers and sisters. We weren't conceived, or we're not from here. Let me put it that way. We're from Africa. We were kidnapped from our home and brought over here. However, the demons, they are a result of relentless rape for 466 years of the original woman. And so this is their home, in a sense. Okay, because this is where they were born. Now we know this land belongs to the natives of this land, which they call Native Americans. These resources belong to them. However, in a sense, these demons, they think that this land is theirs. Okay, and they want this land for themselves. Strife, division will continue until and beyond when the Son of Man kindles fire in the earth, which is when the Shia rise, throwing Gog and Magog, the Antichrist, out of the Middle East. So here we have America, the Antichrist is false Israel, Britain, EU, the demon blacks, and Russia. Okay, and right on top we have our Iran and Syria, brothers and sisters. They are the Islamic portion of the European nation. They are original on their paternal side, however they're Caucasian on their maternal side. And we know that you are the seed of your father. So their father is original. That makes our Iranian and Syrian brothers and sisters original. Now, Iran and Syria is about to kick America and Britain out the Middle East. Okay, Iran and Syria is under direct instruction of our 12th, what they call their 12th Imam, the God of this time, our God, Master Farad Muhammad. This war that's about to take place is going to send shockwaves through the planet, brothers and sisters. Babylon has fallen. Babylon is America. And he cried out in a strong voice, saying, "She fell, Babylon, U.S. Fell Babylon the Great," that's false Israel. "And she became dwelling place of demons and prison of every spirit unclean and prison of every bird unclean and having been hated." All right, brothers and sisters. When America and Britain get kicked out the Middle East, we know that they are the military power for false Israel. They put false Israel into place in 1948. False Israel is called the Antichrist. They are the Antichrist. Master Solomon is the Christ. They were both conceived at the same time. And scriptures calls false Israel Babylon the Great. Now, one thing we need to understand is that America and Britain put false Israel into place to counteract the narrative of us being the true seed of Abraham. Now, this is what the messenger has taught. That was his consistent message. We are the true seed of Abraham. We are living out Exodus, and we're going home. Now, Farrakhan has come in and completely twisted up all the teachings and lessons and told us that we're staying here. What you don't realize is Farrakhan is representing his demons. He is a demon. His father is a devil. So he's representing the mindset and the thinking, and he's the personification of wickedness. He's the same as his father. Okay, so the message that Farrakhan is preaching is not for you, brothers and sisters. That's for the demons. Now, when America and Britain get kicked out the Middle East, that completely annihilates all of false Israel's military power. We know that Master Farad Muhammad is our sky security. He has the wheels, which they call UFOs. They was lying to us for years, saying that it was coming from, there was aliens flying around and telling us all these fantasies. The scriptures tell us that these wheels are a technical marvel, and Master Farad Muhammad is the architect. And so he is our faithful and true God. Okay, that's what chapter 19 of the Angel calls him. And he is responsible for our protection. And he's the one who is our transportation getting us home. Because they're not going to put us on no damn airline, Southwest, to go home. They don't want to let us go, period. We are their wealth, the gold and silver. And so these wills, they'll tell you, have been hovering over their nuclear military bases, wiping out their nuclear power. And they cannot even study these wills. They move so quick. You know, they're only being seen when Master Farad Muhammad wants to be seen. They try to shoot them down out the sky. They couldn't even get close to it. And so they move quick in the sky. They move quick in water. I mean, they just can't figure it out, brothers and sisters. And so America and Britain have all this military power, and they think they have the best nuclear weapons in the world. When they go to launch their nuclear missiles, their nuclear devices will be deactivated, neutralized by Master Fard Muhammad. And at that point, it becomes a ground war. We know that false Israel is the size of New Jersey, or you're in the Midwest, maybe the size of St. Louis compared to Iran and Syria, the rest of the United States. So it's a very small city compared to our brothers Iran and Syria. And at that point, when America and Britain is kicked out and their nuclear weapons are disengaged, false Israel goes under siege. Now, during this time period of false Israel being under siege, that is the time for you to be getting, you should have already been out of town. You should have already been out of town with America and Britain. And so, matter of fact, scriptures told you to flee when you saw Jerusalem surrounded by armies. However, you didn't see it at the time. And so, when America and Britain get kicked out the Middle East, false Israel goes under siege and is completely destroyed. The whole world realizes that they have been lying, that we are the true seed of Abraham. It says that once we are put in our land, that we would never be uprooted again. And so, with false Israel being uprooted, that means that they can't possibly be the seed of Abraham. Okay, and then at that point, America and Britain are both going to make moves to exterminate blacks. They don't care if you're original or a demon. They don't have time to figure it out, and they don't want the demons anyways. We don't want the demons either, brothers and sisters. So that puts them in position. They will be rejected, and they're going to be out on the streets rioting and protesting for America to have for themselves. The fall of America / Babylon will begin with a trade war / sanction and end with the destruction of Europe and America. It cannot be avoided. The Caucasians, Yaqub's devils, came with an expiration date built into their DNA. What we are witnessing is a nation, the Caucasian nation, in their death throes. The ever-increasing pressure is exposing fault lines that were hidden, revealing and exposing divisions one against the other. None will prevail. They are all doomed to surge against each other in their last hours of life. Sensing death is near, China and India will rise up to smash what remains of them. Okay, brothers and sisters, I'm going to read this scripture for you, and then I'm going to wrap up what the bottom line is for you. After I saw other angels stepping down out of heaven, having authority great, and the earth was lighted up out of the glory of him, and he cried out in a strong voice, saying, She fell, Babylon, which is the U.S., fell Babylon the Great, which is false Israel, and she became a dwelling place of demons and prison of every spirit unclean and prison of every bird unclean, and having been hated. Because out of the wine of the anger of the fornication of her have fallen all nations, and the kings of the earth with her committed fornication, and the traveling merchants of the earth out of the power of the unreigned luxury of her they became rich. And I heard other voice out of the heavens saying, Come you out, the people of me, out of her, in order that not you should share together to the sins of her, and out of the plagues of her, in order that not you should receive, because we're glued together of her sins until the heaven, and called to mind the unjust acts of her. Give you back to her as also she gave back, and double you the double according to the works of her. And the cup to which she mingled you to her double. As many as she glorified herself and lived unreigned in luxury, so much give you to her torment and mourning, because in the heart of her she, false Israel, is saying that I am sitting queen, and widow, not I am, and mourning, not I should see. Through in this one day will come the plagues of her, death and mourning and famine, and in fire she will be burned down, because strong Lord the God having judged her. and they will weep, and they will strike themselves upon her, the kings of the earth, the with her having committed fornication and having lived unreign in luxury, wherever they be looking at the smoke of the firing of her. Now, brothers and sisters, this is speaking about the collapse. And scriptures is telling us, come you out, the people of me, out of her, in order that not you should share together to the sins of her, and out of the plagues of her, in order that not you should receive. This scripture is telling us that we need to go home so that we don't experience the same judgment as our enemies. Okay, and here false Israel is very proud, talking about, I'm a sitting queen, I'm not mourning. You know, they don't see that they're about to lose this war. They don't see that they are about to be mourning a severe loss and destruction. And so when you're looking at these scriptures, you need to be asking, what does this mean for you? You know, what's your next move? Because you're hearing about all these wars, you're looking at the news, you see it, you see these conflicts unfolding and increasing. And so what does that mean for you, brothers and sisters? Because what's about to take place is either going to make or break us. And so this Holocaust that we have been through is the greatest pressure that we ever experienced. And that pressure turned us into a diamond. They didn't realize that everything they was doing, terrorizing, tormenting, and brutalizing us, dehumanizing us, was making us hard and turning us into a diamond. And so you don't even realize you're a diamond because you're in a pig pen and there's shit all over the place, and you know, we are covered in their filth. And so you don't understand what you're even capable of. You haven't seen yourself. Now, this is I remember being on the college campus, and we had this professor that would get mad at the students for waiting to the last minute to do our final papers and midterm papers and whatnot. And the students, we would argue with the professor that we come out with better work or better papers when we're under pressure. So basically, like within the last week to 3 days before the assignment is due, that's when we start working on it. However, then another group of students who were devils and demons were arguing that they don't do well under pressure. Their most mundane and half-assed work comes out of them being under pressure, and that they have to take the whole semester to write up these papers. And you know, the other students, we were arguing with the professor that it's not until the deadline is fastly approaching that we can perform excellent, the best paper ever when we're under pressure of this meeting this deadline, and you know, this deadline coming closer. And so at the time, I didn't understand the difference between the demons and us, for one, because they have the same nature as their father. They're technical, and the Europeans and this technical beings do not do well under pressure. They were produced for the time of energy deprivation, and with that time period being over, their destruction is coming down on them because they cannot handle pressure, and they definitely are not disciplined. They cannot discipline themselves. It's against their nature. And so what I'm getting at is this pressure that we have been under has made us the diamonds that we are. However, you don't see yourself you're not going to see, or you don't understand who you are until your back is up against the wall. Now, when America and Britain get kicked out the Middle East, they're going to attack all blacks, and we're going to all come together. We're going to reject the demons, send them back to their swine daddies. They want America, let them have it. Let them fight for it and burn down. And so this, us coming together and unifying, is going to build our army overnight. We know that the four winds are going to blow. The Levite nation is going to come together and form a barrier of protection for Lazarus, which is the 144,000, the tribe of Shabazz. And we're going to form this barrier so that scriptures tell us that as soon as Lazarus is raised from the dead, they're going to try to kill him. These European devils are going to try to kill him. So we're forming this barrier of protection, this army to protect the tribe of Shabazz, as you all raise up. And so this unity and this discipline that it takes for us to come together, it's going to happen overnight. However, you're going to have to understand that we are at war first. Right now, you don't understand that we're at war, brothers and sisters. That's why we have not united together. And so, once they start attacking us, we are going to unite overnight. And that discipline alone of us coming together and uniting and being one body, because we're one body right now, we're plagued with cancer cells, these demons. And so we cannot even function. You know, we are at like a stage 4 cancer with these demons plaguing us. And so once this demon plague is taken care of, we can function as like a well-oiled machine. We can function as a complete unit, one body. And them seeing us come together and with our discipline and our power is going to completely deter them from messing with us at all. We will have heaven overnight. And that's just us organizing as we prepare to make our exodus home to Africa, northern Africa for Shabazz, the rest of Africa for the Levites. And so, the brothers and sisters, what we need to understand is that the fall of America is imminent. This is not our home. We're not staying here. They are doing everything they can to keep you distracted and undisciplined. Because as long as you don't know what's going on and you have no discipline, so you're indulging in stimulants and entertainment and mundane activities that have nothing to do with your salvation or getting this information to our brothers and sisters, you're going to find yourself on the wayside, because only those who can survive this pressure is going to make that transformation into the us coming together and unifying. And so take heed of what's being shared, brothers and sisters. This information was given 4 years ago. And that's just this video. There's several videos that were published by Master Solomon before this. He's been giving this information for over 30 years. Where does this put you at, brothers and sisters? Is this putting you on a proactive side of the equation or on the reactive side of the equation? Because a lot of our people will lose their life for lack of knowledge of this very message right here. And when they go to react, it will be too late. You know, if you're waiting to get out of town when false Israel is under siege, you wait for false Israel to go under siege to see if it's really going to happen before you leave out of town, you're already too late. And it's not going to be the military and, you know, the police force and all of that. They're not going to have time to get to us. It's going to be your next door neighbor. The ones you have gone out of your way to get close to, these devils. in the cul-de-sacs and in the suburbs, out in the countryside, because they know what this abomination of desolation means. It means that us, these Negroes, they've been treating wrong all this time, now have the upper hand. Now we're responsible for their judgment. And so, brothers and sisters, our faithful and true God, Master Fard Muhammad, has been on the scene. He has never left the post. Master Solomon is here on post for over 30 years now, and has came and cleaned up the mess that was left behind by the Levites. Because we were supposed to be a bridge from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to Master Solomon for the rest of our brothers and sisters that's lost. And that way, when Master Solomon came on the scene, they would recognize, everyone would recognize him. However, instead, he was rejected by those who would have the eyes to see him, by the Levites. And so, Levites, you have to go through tribulations, because you have to gather the rest of our brothers and sisters that have no knowledge of anything, because you didn't give it to them. Okay? And instead of calling Farrakhan out and rejecting him from the NOI, you accepted his foolishness. And not only that, went and made subgroups. Royal Camp, Silas Camp, Eric Muhammad. And so Levites went into these little subgroups and continued to allow our people to be misled while worshiping all of these idols. The biggest idol being what Farrakhan put in place, the golden calf, Sunnism. And so, brothers and sisters, you need to understand that you're going to form this body. We are going to unify. And you're going to take your place in the ranks, brothers and sisters. You have to understand that there's no getting out of what must be done. Everyone has a duty to perform. You think you're just going to waltz on home? We already did our job. Now we have to come together and organize so that we can get home safely. So, brothers and sisters, go look at the scriptures. Go back and view the information that's being given. Years and years of information is being given, brothers and sisters. Go back and view it. And go look at the news. Everything is unfolding exactly how the angel shared with you it would. So with that being said, thank you for having me. I'll be back with more. Assalamu alaikum.